Hey, good afternoon. I'm Deanne Battle. This is the Composite random Instagram talk show for the uninitiated and for anyone else that'll, maybe hop on or see this later. Thanks for checking us out. Okay. I hope the lighting is okay. All right. So this is as good as we're going to get right now for the production elements. How are people doing? Let's see, is anybody online? We're telling your followers that you've started a live video. Okay, nothing for me to do there. Okay, so it is Wednesday, April 24th. It's hump day, so hopefully you're making it through your week. I'm on spring break, bitches. And I've been loving every second of it. Actually getting some writing done. So here's the thing. Last night we had a full moon in Scorpio, right? So what is Scorpio? Hold on a second here. Let me show you. Scorpio is, at least in the tarot, right, is most clearly represented by, drum roll, please. Okay, the unveiling here is a little anticlimactic, right? Yes, here we go, right? The death. Right? So that is the representation of Scorpio. And so sometimes people really get freaked out, this idea of death, but death is a time for renewal. Death, is a time for transformation. And so that was what that full moon last night represented, death and transformations. What are you going to cycle through? I've been cycling through a lot of stuff and not out of the forest yet, but getting close, and I'm feeling really great about it, so I'm thankful for that. But it's had me thinking about, okay, what are some things that quote unquote need to die and transform, and primarily like old stories about myself that I used to tell myself. I think that that's like the main thing that needed to die. Excuse me. And so again, now that that's clearing out, I think it makes new space for great things, because I've been feeling really stuck. And so I'm trying to listen to spirit and trying to listen to the universe. And for the past few days, I've just been asking, right, from a divination standpoint, like, what is one thing that I can do today to get unstuck? And I won't completely reveal it, but when I ran the cards this morning, it's, it just boiled down to community, essentially, right? Like, it's like, okay, so you're doing the work, on your spiritual journey. Some of it's a little vibrational. If you watched yesterday's episode, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Very low vibrational last week. But community, right? And so I'm on break. I'm not really around anyone right now. And I had planned to do an episode anyway, but I said, you know what? Rather than do what I was initially going to do, I'm just going to show up. That's what we have to do sometimes, just show up. And I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with silence, and I'm not comfortable with just sitting around and waiting. But I've been doing a lot of waiting, and so different ideas have been coming to me. Again, the writing is coming a lot easier. So here I am. I showed up. And hopefully somebody will show up and watch this later. All right, so what are we going to do today? It's not going to be super serious. As much as I like to tell myself that I care about the world around me, and that because of my unique sets of opportunities and experiences, I owe so much, but at the moment, I don't necessarily have it to give out. So I'm trying to keep it on the lighter side for myself. So I figured I would share that here. So what I plan to do is I want to run cards. I don't even know if that's a term people use. That's what I call it. Run the cards. Like, you know what I mean? Run the play. Let's see, what comes out. So take a look at that. And then I want to do something a little bit different. I've got my handy little iPad here. I want to read a couple of poems. I think this is a good moment for some lyricism. So I'll read a couple of poems. And then I do want to look at a couple of headlines just to do like quick top level discussion. But it's just stuff is kind of bleak. Not kind of. Let's be more direct. Shit is a dumpster fire. And the flames are growing. But like I said, I'm on a spiritual journey. And just really trying to be alert, but not alarmed, right? I think that there's a way in which I can dial in and be present, but not like, calming the nervous system. And so that's what I'm working on. It's not easy. It's not my default factory settings. But that's why you show up and, you try to have faith in yourself and what you're doing, and you just see what happens. Okay? Now, before I proceed, I don't know if people can say that you're slandering their products or whatever, but these are really gross. So this is the strawberry and banana fruit crisps. And I think I bought these. Yeah, I was on some diet at the time. Oh, that's why they taste so bad, because they're expired. It's just like, this shit is lean. And so I was like, let's be honest. In America, we're not eating food. If you go to the grocery store, and I've spoken about this before, you're eating foodstuffs. And so I said, I don't have the money for food right now, but I think I do have some foodstuffs, which I know still have a certain level of shelf life because this is the US and they're filled with preservatives. So what did I find? I found robust tomato sauce, and I had noodles already. So we're on and popping with that. Spaghetti will be had tonight. What else did I have? I have some Spam. I had shiitake mushroom and barley soup, but it was just like the dried mix, and I put that together. So that's what I'm having for lunch today. And I'm like, this is raggedy chic. I don't know what you would call it, but it's, it's not that bad. So, and this is the closest thing we're getting to fruit for a little bit. And I guess I'm just sharing. But this is that's not it. It's not it at all. I'm like, wait, hold on. I'll describe it for you. Yeah, that shit is stale. Oh my God. It is like an old Flintstones vitamin that was sitting out in the sun for 3 days. Or, an old Sour Patch Kid that you found in the couch cushions or something. That's what it's giving. No bueno. All right. So, I got my tarot cards here. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. People are like, oh, tarot, woo, woo, woo. But I like data points, whether they're quote unquote scientific or, in this case, ancient technology. So what I've noticed is like if I watch stuff on YouTube, it's crazy how much like you can feel there are certain energy waves. Like I had went through this wave where, you know, these different readers were like, oh, you know, if you're looking for a new job, you'll get a new job by June. If you're looking for a new job, you'll get a new job by June. And I was like, whatever, like, you know, everybody wants clicks, like they're just saying this. And it's like, this was last year. I was like, no, I got a new job by June. So it's like, you don't go by necessarily if you're looking at readers online. So that's what I'll refer to. If you're looking at readers online, I wouldn't go by necessarily like what one person says, but what is the preponderance of that energy wave, right? So based on your astrology, like, oh, so for Aries, in a preponderance of the wave is going this way. And it maybe gives you things to think about, right? Like, it's like, oh, just generally, if it's like, oh, Aries, you might have like something going on with your stomach, a stomach issue. So now if 5 or 6 people say that, it's like, oh, well, dang, well, how have I been feeling, right? So then you just take a second to dial in. So it's just touch points. It's not necessarily something to dictate your life. Does that make sense? But let me see, what do I want to ask? Because I think it's important, or at least for me, now that I'm like getting slightly better at it, to, you know, really focus and have an intention as you're doing this. So what I want to ask, all right, Spirit, times are rough. What's a message of hope? There we go. What's a message of hope that we can look at here? So I'll pull 3 cards, and then if I need to clarify, I will. And these, I need to get multiple decks too. I've been using the same deck. I mean, primarily just because, like, you know, it just feels like indulgent. You know, even if it's something like, oh, I want to spend $15. Like, no, I don't have that to spend. It's a hard knock life for us. It's a hard knock life for us. All right. Okay, so that was 4 shuffles, I believe. I try to do, okay, so that's 5. Try to do odd number shuffles. Cut the cards. All right, so what's the message of hope that we could have for today? Spirit guides, ancestors, Orisha, creator, anybody in the universe that is listening. All right, we want a message here, something hopeful for the people, because that's why we do this, for the people. Okay, message of hope. Now you can pull cards. I like to take the ones that fall, because the longer that I've been doing this, like, they pop out. I swear, it's very interesting, and I'm not good at shuffling, so it's like, oh, you know, it definitely feels as if there's some sort of energy wave when it happens. Oh, thank you. Okay, wow. 1, 2, message of hope. Okay, thank you. Wow. Okay. So this is the deck, right? I'm going to put it to the side here so you can see, like, I'm not doing anything janky. It's actually a hopeful message, right? So here's the thing. I'm still getting to the point where I can tell the story. For me, sometimes with it, I'm a little too literal. All right. So bear with me. I'm going to, explain each card separately, and then I'll try to put the story together. So I pulled three cards, right? First card is the Empress. This is one of the best cards in the deck, right? So you'll see, right? She is with child, right? And she's sitting in her glory. So what does the Empress symbolize? She represents fertility, abundance, but just like the success of creation, the desire to create, right? That is the Empress, right? And so that's a quote unquote major arcana, meaning like it's my understanding of it is that it's something where it's like a major change or a major thing to pay attention to. The energy force of it is bigger. All right, so this is a minor arcana, and this is the Six of Wands, right? So you'll see this is, it could be male or female, but I interpret it as female. And so she's on her horse and she has her wands, right? Wands represent, passion, whether, sexual or, again, creative energy, inspiration. And this represents success, right? So we have abundance, we have success. All right. Then here we have the King of Swords, right? So King of Swords, I think I'm going to look this up just to support what I'm about to say. But swords, right, are the intellect, communication. And so the King of Swords he's a leader, he's responsible, he's direct in what he has to say, he's precise. And also, let's see. Slow loading. Yes. He represents reason, authority, discipline, morality, and seriousness, right? So those are the three cards separately. So how do I read them? I think I want to clarify the King of Swords. So, when you clarify, my understanding of it is, you're getting an additional card to enhance the meaning, right? Because abundance, success, and, authority, right? Or morality, I get that separately. But King of Swords, morality around what? Or authority around what? So please clarify the King of Swords. Okay. All right. So this is the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords, excuse me, I can't talk today, most clearly represents heartbreak. So what's a hopeful message here? So I think what we're being told is okay. All right, so I'm going to pull these together. Gotta love it here. We're budget. All right. So I think the story, folks, is abundance, right? And success are right around the corner if we deal with an honest with our heartbreak in an honest, immature way, right? I think that's what's being said. Because if the King of Swords, if he is logical, if he's clear-eyed, but he's got heartbreak, right, that he's holding on to, he's going to handle it in a very, again, logical, methodical way. And so in my mind, it feels like we're being called in terms of a message of hope to understand that, like, yes, all of this is on its way. It's coming. The victory is here, right? The abundance is here, but put your big girl panties on, or your big boy boxers on, and really, really tend to your broken heart, right, in a mature fashion. Wow, it did turn out to be a positive message, because I was just like, if the devil and the death and I said all these cards and the 5 of Pentacles shows up, I'm like, okay, so much for a message of hope, Deanne. No, but that it actually did provide a message of hope. And see, this is the thing, right? So if I was as dialed in as I thought I am, if I was as dialed in as I think that I am, I would have known, oh yeah, I asked for a message of hope, I'm going to get one. But it's still, now that I have more of an awareness of myself and others and the universe that I live in, it's still, when I get those responses back, I'm like, oh yeah, someone's listening. And they're like, yeah, we've been here the whole time. Where have you been? And I'm like, my bad. Sorry guys. But there's that. Okay. So I just, that was pretty hopeful. Cool. How do you deal with your heartbreak? Excuse me. Right? Because, to a certain extent, people are just, told to or expected to kind of just get over it. And, that's not realistic. So what am I doing now? I'm looking for poems. I have one of my go-tos that I want to read, but again, I'm trying to be open. So I'm like, oh, what if I go to poetry.org, so on and so forth, like what might be in store? What do they have on the homepage, right? You never know. All right, Poems Home. Okay, I'm going to read the first poem that I just saw. Now, this poet, I'm somewhat familiar with her, mostly by name, with all the moving and teaching in the last several years. I can honestly say, unfortunately, the last 3 years, I haven't really kept up with poetry as much as I would like. But poetry is my second genre. My first genre is fiction, and then poetry, and then creative nonfiction. But nevertheless, this is called Naming What Has Risen by Camille T. Dungy. Naming what has risen. Why not a crocus from this bulb? Why not the purple of bees' lusts, so that, in honey, she might taste something good? Underskin, purple is a private taste, closer to the blood of her tongue, closer to the blood she chokes on when she's gasping, to the clot behind her blackened eye. The heated force that slammed her shin, that pushed bone from the bone, that arched her but did not approach caress, is another kind of lust. Spring, a madness of grappling. Isn't that what she sees outside every window? And inside, nothing unique going on. Ooh, I like that. Oh. Yeah, I'm going to have to play with that a bit so I can figure out what it means. I like that. And again, that poem was called Naming What Has Risen by Camille T. Dungy. All right. Nice. Hold on to that one. I'm going to go back to the homepage. I'm actually going to go to a different website. See what they have available. Just one more poem. Right? And I don't know about where you are, but in Pennsylvania today, it's so gorgeous. It's lovely out. The only reason why I'm not fully outside is because it's like sunny, then overcast. It's kind of hard to get a rhythm on, like, oh, is it going to be warm enough or not? All right. Now, okay. This one I think this is a little longer. This is a poet that I was introduced to, funnily enough, by the poet Yolanda Wisher. So the first time that I moved to the Philadelphia area, I was... Who does this, by the way? You've got a new employee and you're like, I want you to find a speaker for us. Like, my boss was crazy. Anyway, sorry, had a moment. So I'd been there 2 seconds and they're like, okay, we need you to find a writer or a poet. And, here we've got a little bit of money. So I was able to, talk to her and convince her right before she got a national accolade, like, hey, I've got some snobby prep kids. You want to come, prep school kids, you want to come like teach them? And so she said, sure. And then afterward, she told me, hey, I know you mentioned that you're a writer, but you're not a poet, are you? Or, you're interested in poetry. And I was like, yeah. But, at that point I think the last time I wrote a poem, I was like 15 or something. And she was doing a workshop. Long story short, that is where I first heard about this poet. His name is Bob Kaufman. And what a revelation. I'm like, who? I don't know who this is. And so she really worked a lot with his poems in our workshop. And I think that workshop went on for, I want to say 2 months, maybe 3 months. It felt like it went on a while. And I generated a lot of halfway decent work. So, the goal is, folks, I don't know if I should say this. I have about like a cycle of 12 books. One is a short story collection, but the rest are novels. Like, I have a problem. I need to finish something. All right. So all of that being said, I haven't been writing poems because I need to finish other books. But I'm promising myself that once 2 of those books are finished, and either sitting on somebody's desk or sitting in someone's bookstore, I want to write poems again. All right. So, this is Bob Kaufman, and this looks like it's going to make me sad. Okay. This is called I Have Folded My Sorrows by Bob Kaufman. Sorry, I don't know why I'm emotional right now. I have folded my sorrows. I have folded my sorrows into the mantle of summer night, assigning each brief storm its allotted space and time, quietly pursuing catastrophic histories buried in my eyes. And yes, the world is not some unplayed cosmic game, and still the sun is still 93 and the sun is still 93 million miles from me, and in the imaginary forest, the shingled hippo becomes the gray unicorn. No, my traffic is not addled. Keepers of yesterday's disasters, seekers of manifest disembowelment on shafts of yesterday's pains. Blue, come dressed like introspective echoes of a journey. And yes, I have searched the rooms of the moon on cold summer nights. And yes, I have refought those unfinished encounters. Still they remain unfinished. And yes, I have at times wished myself something different. The tragedies are sung nightly at funerals of the poet. The revisited soul is wrapped in the aura of familiarity. Yeah. Wow. All right. So that's our poetry section of the day. All right. So, what I want to do now is look at headlines. Okay. I'll check 2 or 3 sources because, as I've said here many times before, there's not one American go-to like news source, just because, I feel like publications now specialize in lying about different things. So it's like, oh, this one is definitely going to lie about Congress more, and this one is going to lie about international politics more. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean up my face, and I'll be right back. Thanks. All right. I'm back. So just generally, one of the biggest headlines, and you might argue that it's not the biggest thing happening in the world right now, but one of the biggest headlines is the mobilization of college students. And so I just want to take a second to thank those young people for doing our work, because we're not. So one headline is, I guess, the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, wants the president of Colombia to resign. These... I hope that... How do I phrase this? Irrespective of your political beliefs, you should have a massive problem with the way that universities are proceeding right now. That's my opinion. Because it's showing how easy it is to really, flip over the apple cart of the academic, of an academic institution, right? Because essentially, the donors are like, this money is only allocated as long as your university kowtows to my ideal of intellectualism. So what that means is that these hallowed halls were never places for open and explorative academic discourse. Now, I feel like many of us know that already, but you have the receipts now, so there's that. TikTok is banned unless they sell themselves. Let me find an actual headline related to that so I can give you actual facts. Okay, we'll try Business Insider. Yeah, okay. Congress passed a bill this week that will force TikTok's owner to sell its U.S. asset. Okay, so the U.S. arm, or face removal from mobile app stores. But see, here's the thing about that, though. It's the quote unquote the part that's based in the U.S., but isn't it all one app? Like, I would imagine they'd still be able to do whatever it is they're being accused of on the back end. Or is it more just about, because I don't really, it's not about the security part of it then. Does that make sense? So what's that? In other words, like, if this app that I'm on right now, Instagram, it's a global app, meaning that you have a phone, you download it from your app store, and you install it, and then there it is. If you're like, oh, okay, well, they can't have access in Italy, but the app is still all connected, so it might not turn on in Italy, but it's just like you haven't stopped the data collection on the back end. Have you? I don't know. But so yeah, this is, I think, really about the front facing part of it, the part that we interact with, and preventing us from really from that long reach of TikTok. Now, for me, I've never had an account because I don't like it. I feel dumb after I watch a few TikTok videos. I think it's just the pattern of how the videos come at you. It just hits me weird. I don't know how to explain it. But anyway, I've never had it, so this is less effective for me. But I know, again, especially these young people that are, really mobilizing for change, that they're really dialed into TikTok and are using it to disseminate information, which keeping us informed. Yeah, you know how the government feels about that. All right, so Congress passed a bill this week that will force TikTok's owner to sell its U.S. assets or face removal from mobile app stores. President Joe Biden signed the bill into law on Wednesday. Parent company ByteDance now has between 9 months and a year to sell or spin off the app in the U.S. Okay, so, but if they sell it, I'm just trying to think of the logical progression. So it's just, I'm kind of, again, just processing in the moment. But if the U.S. government is telling you have to sell it to a U.S. entity, aren't they tacitly admitting we want control of this app? Let me know if I missed something, right? Because the only reason the government wants you to, they don't regulate shit else, but it's the only reason they want. We have planes falling out of the sky, but, we need the government to own TikTok, basically, right? Because if it's a U.S.-based company, this is a shakedown. They just want to be able to apply pressure. If I'm missing something, I'm happy to reconsider, but that's what this shit looks like right here, and I'm not with it. One or two more headlines, and then we'll wrap up. Yeah, maybe just one more. This shit is really a dumpster fire. And I know the Trump trials and stuff are going and stuff is happening. I can't even check. I can't even look. I don't want to look at him. I don't want to hear about him. If there is a statistician out there who has a preponderance of time, I would love if they calculated all of the hours of free promo Donald Trump has gotten out of us. It's probably billions of hours. I wish I was exaggerating. It just feels like he's never out of the news cycle. I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about, when Trump first got into office. And I said, remember how people used to get so shook on Friday morning? Because they were like, oh, who's getting fired tonight? What shit's going down this weekend? But it just seems like by Friday at 3:30, some mishigas had popped off, and then it would spin through the news cycle over the weekend, but you couldn't catch your breath because then there was some new bullshit on Monday. And it's just, I know there are a lot of people still caught up in that. It's just, you have to let it play out. And to be honest, I don't think it will ever be satisfying, right? So if you're someone like me who's like, oh yes, criminal activity has taken place, some sort of retribution needs to be exacted, right? So if you're in that camp, even if he's, convicted of everything, like, so what? This man is almost 80 years old. He's had almost 80 years of criminality on this planet, right? Because don't get it twisted, he was born into a criminal enterprise before he ascended and took it over. So 80 years that you've plagued this earth, raping and pillaging and stealing. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what the justice is for that, right? We've already suffered. I mean, put him in jail. Hey, I mean, I know some people would, excuse me, I keep biting my tongue, would get, quote unquote, a kick out of that. But it's just, there are certain people who they've taken so much from the planet and they've taken so much from society. I'm not sure, what the redemption point or what the restorative justice point is for that. Now, to my knowledge, he hasn't killed anyone, so I'm not going to be hyperbolic, right? Is he the absolute worst human being on the planet? I mean, no. But is he friends with those people? Does he look up to those people? Is he interested in flirting with the opportunity to get to the final boss level with one of those people? Yes, he totally is. So there is that. And then, okay. So this is a labor story. And this is something that I was thinking about too. So I'll read a bit of the story and then I'll tell you what I'm thinking about. So it says, millions more salaried workers will be eligible for overtime pay under final Biden administration rule. Okay, millions of salaried workers will soon qualify for overtime pay under a final rule released by the U.S. Department of Labor on Tuesday. The new rule raises the salary threshold under which salaried employees are available for overtime in 2 stages. The threshold will increase to the equivalent of an annual salary of $43,888 starting July 1st, then to $58,656 by January 1st, 2025. Okay, so essentially, as of July 1st, if you make less than $43,000 in change and you're salaried and they make you work overtime, you can get overtime pay. In January 2025, they basically bump that number up another 15 grand. So then if you make under 58,000 and change, they'll give you overtime pay if you work overtime. I don't know about y'all. I owed on my taxes this year. And as broke as I have been, like, WTF. I've never owed that much on my taxes. This is a money grab shakedown too. I think that because our government overtaxes that lower tier of working class employees, If they've got you getting overtime pay in, guess who is going to? And they're still going to get tax cuts. This is not a win, y'all. This is not a win. I promise you. I promise you that the Biden administration and the administration after that and the administration after that will continue to find a way to fuck you. Because I'm not seeing anything here about them not taxing it. That only helps you if they're not taxing it. You'll get a little bit, but they're going to take it right back. Trust and believe they're taking this shit right back because they've got wars to fund and we need to feed the beast. Okay? So that was season 3, episode 11 of the Composite. And thank you for anybody that might watch the playback. I'm showing up. I'm here. Apologies for the abundance of emotion. But I'm feeling the feels. But doing well. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. And so I've gone on twice this week. I don't know if I'll go on tomorrow. I'm feeling like I will. If I do go live, I'll do my little ad spiel tonight. All right. Take care.